No.
There it is. Took a while. All right. Hi, everybody. Zero interest. We haven't recorded in like 4 weeks. So.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we're a little out of the game. We're up to season 4, episode 4 of RWBY. Family, I want to say it was called.
It's called Family. Family. That's an important word. Well, we start off this episode with a little farmer boy who we now learn is named Oscar, and he's hearing voices inside his head.
Yeah, the voice
particularly
of Professor
the voice. He's a ghost. I'm guessing the Wizard of Oz lives on in Oscar, or something.
Basically, yeah. The Wizard of Oz, his name is Ozpinhead, or rather those are his initials. He has a really fucking long name, and the first of those multiple names is Oscar. So,
The legend continues. But before that, before that actually turns into anything at all, and we just get a little hint. Like we go on to Yang, and she's got a nice little nightmare going on.
Yep, this is pretty much the first of the 2 main scenes of this episode.
Adam is coming at her, and she's like, "Oh, blam blam," and it's not working. And she's like, "Ah," and it's like, "No, I just have a fist." And like, "Ah, no, I don't have an arm." And then she's powerless to stop him.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up, and she looks at her arm. She's like, "Ah, the metal arm." Like, not now.
I feel like they could have gone a bit more dream with the dream sequence, but whatever.
Could have gone for more surrealism or something. Yeah. It was a little bit too plain. Nobody's wearing a skirt. Unlike Crow, who we just learned from a story was wearing a skirt.
Not up for much interpretation. The thing with dreams is you can put all sorts of crap in them in a very short space of time and do a hell of a lot of character development. So they could have put some stuff with RWBY in there, or they could have Blake could have been involved as well because she was there, and that was why Yang attacked what's his name. That could have been part of it. They just ignored all that just for the.
It could reveal a lot about. Yeah, it was very focused, and I feel like especially with this type of medium, it's visual. You can do a lot with that. I mean, you don't have to blow your whole budget or anything on the stream, but you could have done more and made it at least more visually impressive, I feel. As well as like including things to convey that, because you can be all sort of vague and symbolic in a dream, and people can analyze that. But that was really straightforward. She goes downstairs, and oh hey, the professors from her old school are there, hanging out with her dad, talking about a time when Crow was in a skirt.
I didn't go busy. Tyler, why do you keep coming online over and over again? You piss me off. For fuck's sake.
Special guest star Tyler. So what happens is a fun scene with lots of laughs, and then her dad says, "I guess you." Ish, yeah. And then her dad's like, "I guess you lost some brain cells along with that arm," and it's just like. And I for a minute, I'm like, that's a really sore spot you're touching on right now, and she just had a nightmare about that, and it's really not. And then she laughs it off, and I'm like, that's really weird.
Yeah, that's not the right reaction under any circumstances. I kind of expected her to actually punch him. Like, not do the Weekby thing and run from the room because they're trying to show that she's not a kid anymore, which they could have done with her actually punching him for that really fucking weird and oddly, like, that's a deep cut kind of comment and the kind of thing an adult would punch that fucker for. But they didn't do that. And they went with laughter instead, and that was weird.
It was, I mean, if you hadn't had the nightmare just that at that point, just minutes, like a minute before that actually that line came out, you could have tried to angle it more as she's starting to get over it. But no, it's still pretty raw. And it's just...
It's really fucking weird.
Oh, yeah, it is. And it ultimately results in her being like, let's see, they talk with the professors. She goes up into a room, shot at the arm again. They like to show that metal arm. And she looks out the window, and she's overhearing the conversation on the basically front porch between her dad and her teachers. And they're like, "Hey, why don't you go, help Ruby?" And he's like, I'm kind of busy with something,
There's something I need to look after.
And Yang's like, well, gosh darn it. I guess I better do something.
In the wilderness, surrounded by Grimm, and my dad is stuck here looking after my sorry ass.
Speaking of her sister being stuck in the wilderness, that's what we cut to next.
Also, we didn't even touch on the whole they're rebuilding beacon kind of thing, which is odd.
Yeah.
Because
slowly.
There's still Grimm, like, filling it. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, we've been seeing Goodwitch try to put it together. It's
shops, yes, in Vale, but that's not Beacon. That's a different thing.
Yes, they'll get around to it. It's fine. I mean, they only have a giant dragon, They're kind of just.
Well,
he's not moving. But...
a giant petrified dragon, technically, but.
Yeah, but he was also trapped in rock before, and we see how that turned out. And
maybe that's what happened last time, or something.
Maybe. Well, he might break out again, so...
So it is.
Yeah. So they're all going like, there's a town up ahead. Let's go, jolly adventure.
Yep, Ruby can't pronounce the name of it, but Ren can because he's Asian. I guess. Ikebana.
For somebody whose sister's, like, part of her sister's name is Xiao Long.
Yeah.
Like... then we look over to the cliff and there's a Grimm and it's like, it's foreboding.
Yeah,
and they get stabbed by
how
Crow.
they haven't had to deal with a lot of Grimm, and then it goes up to a shot of Grimm getting ready to attack, and Crow kills it. That tells you why they haven't run into a lot of Grimm.
And Crow's just like luck as he looks at them. And then we follow Crow for a bit more as we get a kind of a nice transitionary scene where we see them entering the inn, and it pulls back from the window all the way to the window across into the bar that Crow is drinking at. And he gets a drink sent his way from the lady upstairs. Red eyes.
And there's a flirty barmaid, and that's... Yeah. Show your nice legs that you apparently have.
He apparently has nice legs. And we see Raven. And her character model has been vastly improved since the last time we saw her. Because that was like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. Well, technically, she was in a photograph, but that was...
But like 2 seasons ago, she was like a recolor of Yang.
Kind of.
Basically. But now she's like, they did up her character model. It looks really nice. And then they have a discussion about the artifact that Salem is after. Does she have it?
Crow dodges the question ably.
And
which is probably the
like,
right approach. Don't tell people the answer to that question. If she has it, then you're all fucked. But if she doesn't, don't tell anyone, because that means you know where to look for it.
Yeah, and he's kind of picking at her. He's like, you have a daughter who lost her arm. You know that, right? It's like, I saved her, once. Once, that's your rule. Just once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember when I said she's kind of a bitch?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She is. And she's talking about how she's the leader of their tribe now. I guess it's like a red-eyed tribe that Crow's a part of. And he left it. And that tribe believes in survival. And that tribe believes in survival of the fittest.
They're bandits.
Well, your statement before now holds even more true.
Yeah. Remember when we talked in the Between Kingdoms episode, and you asked, hey, there must be like a really strong group of roving people that are like really strong and can handle the Grim. There you go then. My own headcanon is that, in truth, this is the only group of bandits. Like, these are the only ones that are literally badass enough to survive in a world filled with world-ending monsters. So, yeah.
Freaking bandits.
Still a stupid concept, but this is the only way
you have to be,
even
you have to be,
makes sense to me.
You have to be kind of nuts to be a bandit in this world, and she is kind of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, so both... words, for some reason. Crow and Raven used to be in a tribe of bandits, and they both left, but Raven went back after she had a kid, for some reason. Which, of the two, I'd have expected her to be the one to stay, and maybe Crow the one to go, but apparently she is that much of a bitch, that she not only went back to the tribe of bandits, but abandoned her daughter at the same time. Like,
yeah.
On the one hand, yeah, she's a bandit and a terrible person, but she didn't actually take her daughter with her when she went back. Like, which
that's a fanfic.
Tells me that she doesn't actually care about Yang in the slightest.
Yeah. Just feels obligated to help her once. She's like, I told you Beacon was doomed. I told you Ozpin would fail. That all came true. And I'm like, well, you're a very sunny, happy person, aren't you? And Crow's like, I don't know where the artifact is, but I do want to know where the heck the Spring Maiden is, because if we don't find her, we're all going to die. All of us. We are going to die. And she's like, define we, because it's basically what he said earlier. Yeah. And then she leaves through a teleportation hole and just kind of leaves and portals out. Barmaid drops her stuff and is scared, and Crow's like, oh, I'll make it a double. And I'm like, this place had a door.
It did, but she's also probably very, very, very wanted. Like, I mentioned how you could probably start over in one of these villages and no one will bat an eye. She's probably not one of the people that could do that.
Yeah, no. Just has to make her cool exit. And then after that whole conversation, we cut over back to Yang, and she's put the arm on. It's like, yeah, I'm ready now. So... thoughts on this episode? It's interesting, and like there's a lot of conversation stuff that's happening here. This is a very Yang focused episode, but because of that, there's a lot of exposition and talking, but not so much plot progression, I guess. I mean, it's Yang's individual plot is getting more resolved.
Yep.
I feel like they could have done more with this particular episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was very character-driven driven episode, rather.
Yeah.
I think it consists of one really good scene, which was the Crow and Raven scene, and one kind of off-kilter scene. Like, I know what they were going for with Yang's scene, but they really kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Like, it wasn't catastrophic, but it was a bit off base in terms of execution.
Like, I feel like instead of saying, I guess you lost some brain cells along with that arm, which makes no sense and is dumb.
It doesn't make sense either. It wasn't even, like, a good line.
And it's like... And it would cut if you were to just be like, well, you know, you're not a fighter anymore because you've been disarmed. Like a crappy, like, dad pun or something, I feel like would have been better for lightening it up.
Yeah, that would have been a way better line because it's less cutting.
Yeah.
But not by too much. And, you know, it is kind of an almost funny line, but it's the kind of almost funny that Yang would find hilarious, so I could see her actually laughing at it.
Yeah. Like, you just have a crappy dad pun, and it makes a lot more sense, and it's not, like, mean-spirited.
Yeah. Also, people have said that Yang doesn't actually make puns. She totally does. You're idiots.
Yeah, she likes puns.
She likes puns. Like, people say, oh, she only made a pun in, like, the first episode of Season 2. There's a manga. I don't know, a lot of people probably don't realize this, but there's a manga of RWBY that is officially licensed and everything. And, yeah, they have a whole conversation about Yang making puns all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a pun would have been just a lot better than... Your brain's not in your arm!
Yeah, that was a weird joke, and it didn't make sense, and made the scene really, really awkward for no reason. Like, and not in the way it was supposed to be awkward.
Yeah. But, overall, like, good for character progression, good for learning a lot more about Yang's mom.
Yeah. A lot of this season is character progression. That's what it is. It's a transition season. So.
I did enjoy this episode, though. Closing thoughts?
I pretty much said all I gotta say. So.
Yeah. I really like how smooth the animation is, particularly when when her dad's watering the flowers and then he just lifts it up and it just stops, and it just felt like that was a really smooth, like the way the water stopped and everything. And I'm reminded again just how beautiful a lot of the backgrounds in this place, this like show is. So, yeah, going good.
All right. So that was episode 4, season 4. So we'll be back with another one soon. Bye.
Bye.